we still here? Just to suffer? I'm still alive. Oh wait, correction. I watch Cats and I'm still alive. Somehow. There just are some films that you should never admit you've watched, especially in public. Cats fits right into that genre. And well, I watch Cats. I've never really heard anybody feel happy about watching this film. And if you've seen it and somehow like Cats, just go back to your home planet already. So the story of this film. Now that's very interesting. The film begins with this cat named Victoria getting chucked out of a car in the middle of an empty alley. The alley suddenly gets filled up with a bunch of weird VFX humans in cat costumes crawling around who abruptly start singing and get creepily friendly with Victoria, only to run away from her after the song ends. So these cats are actually a secret cult called the Jellicles, which granted sounds like the name for a Jason Derulo song. But these Jellicles are as weird and as aroused as they sound. But that's not it. Every year, one cat amongst the clan gets chosen for rebirth, you know the whole 9 lives thing, and is known as the Jellicle choice. Then we're introduced to the villain named McCavity, which really just sounds like if McDonald's ever made a chocolate. Idris Elba plays the villain, who has the power to randomly teleport and make people vanish onto this isolated boat, and I don't know why he would do that. But then later I found out that the film beautifully explains why he would do that. He wants to be the Jellicle choice, but he doesn't want to earn it. So he does a bunch of naughty evil villain things, like making James Corden cat disappear and Rebel Wilson cat disappear. In my opinion, I really didn't think that was evil, considering how annoying both the characters were in this film. There's a scene in the film where Rebel Wilson cat just outright strips and then introduces us to her friends, who are in actuality a bunch of human-faced cockroaches. And if that wasn't bad enough, she goes on to eat them while singing and dancing. Meanwhile, James Corden cat appears in one scene where he eats a lot of food and makes fat jokes about himself, all while singing. Apart from the struggling theatre students, we also see Taylor Swift and, believe it or not, yes, Jason Derulo in this film. Taylor Swift appears in this film as many times as she did in the trailer, while Jason Derulo, he acts like Jason Derulo. And if you don't believe me, watch this.
Stop milking it!
Nah, no more milk.
I get that Cats is a musical, and sure the songs seem melodious at times, but eventually it just gets so monotonous that it doesn't even seem pleasant anymore. And even if there is a song, it really doesn't establish anything significant except introduce a new character every single time. And while the choreography in the film is great, and I mean it, the songs are just too much in abundance, which really doesn't hold your attention for too long, especially considering that the film has a runtime of 2 hours when I couldn't even stand 20 minutes of the film. At some point of the film, we're introduced to the leader of this cult called Old Deuteronomy, who is played by Judi Dench. She's treated as a queen by the other cats and is one who would be making the Jellicle choice. And all the cats, they do this talent show, which is basically Britain's Got Talent for cats, but all of a sudden Taylor Swift comes out of nowhere and she fricks shit up by spraying what I believe is catnip on the other cats, which I can only assume is like cocaine for cats. Ultimately, the queen ends up getting kidnapped by none other than McCavity, while the remaining cats, they lay on the floor drugged. So in order to save the queen, a young bloke steps up, who happens to be a magician. Whoa, coincidence? I think not. He tries to do some voodoo shit and get the queen back, but spoiler alert, he fails. So he tries again, but this time with a lot of inspiration and passion. But spoiler alert 2.0, once more he fails. So at this point he's like, okay, time to abandon my priorities and just saying, I mean, at least it's better than spawning mice on his head, am I right?
Right out of a hat.
What the Anyways, finally all the cats decide to join him as they chant a creepy mantra and they do this magic trick once again, and spoiler alert for the 17th time, he fails. Oh, apparently not, because guess who just decided to pop out from behind? It's the Jellicle chooser. Anywho, we then see Jennifer Hudson Cat, the hated outcast who left the cult to become a famous singer thanks to none other than McCavity. There's this one scene where she goes all out tears for no real reason, and the whole scene just screams "Notice Me Academy" so loud. But to be fair, she too, like the rest of the cast, probably didn't bother reading the script, assuming it would be a good film, considering it was directed by Tom Hooper. But moving on to the climax, and oh boy was this part a howler. So once the Queen is freed, we see some amazing action sequences on Idris Elba's boat, where Rebel Wilson and James Corden compete to be the cringiest fighter, and the entire scene just made me question my very existence. But well, finally, the Queen makes her Jellicle choice, and guess who it is? What's that? You're not able to guess who is the Jellicle choice because there are too many cool cats to pick from? Well, let me tell you. The Jellicle choice ends up being Jennifer Hudson Cat. Then we see this trippy scene where she stands on a chandelier, but we're psyched because it's actually a hot air balloon that just flies up with Judge Cat. And the villain sees this, and instead of logically teleporting to the goddamn thing, he decides to jump and cling on to some rope suspending from the chandelier, but instantly falls and somehow doesn't die. And he watches the balloon and his lost opportunity fly by, and he utters some absolutely incomprehensible garbage. And there we have it, a happy ending, folks. In the final scene, the Queen gives the most insane monologue where she says cats are just like humans and that cats are not dogs. So everyone who ever saw a cat and said, "Oh my god, what a cute dog," please know that they're cats. But to be fair, the entire film wasn't completely shit. It did have a very good color palette that fit into the dreamlike vibe that the director was trying to go for, although the film did end up being a nightmare. The cinematography is linear and the camera moves with the cats, so you're not entirely asleep while they sing their lullabies. Now, moving on to the themes of this film. Okay, great. So those were the themes of this film. This film so spectacularly fails to form an emotional connect with the viewers that every serious scene just feels like a long-running joke. Good but forgettable music, cringy fight scenes, wasted talent, an absolutely original story, and garbage VFX for a film with a shoestring budget of $95 million. I have a strong feeling that the director tried to dispose all his black money from his Swiss bank accounts and invested it into the making of this tragedy. Because with that much money, you can buy 190 Lambos, donate to the CM Relief Fund for Assam, the Black Lives Matter movement, UNICEF, or any other fund that requires your attention. Or you can just make the director's previous films, namely The King's Speech, The Danish Girl, and La Miserable, which I clearly couldn't pronounce, and still have 5 million left. And with that remaining 5 million, you could probably just make the McDonald's chocolate anyways. My closing statement for this shambolic disaster of a film is that even if it premiered on an airplane instead of a theatre, people would still walk out of it. It's impossible to see Tom Hooper come back and get taken seriously after this bizarre man-made disaster. Sure, I may not have seen the play, but I don't need to watch the play to know how bad of a film this is. Dare I call it a film? Wait, did I say bad? It's one thing to call a film bad, but you know it's truly terrible when I say that it was as bad as the Emoji Movie. Basically, the two things that you can take away from this video are: don't watch a film with James Corden in it, and secondly, call me a hero or call me just plain jobless. At least you don't need to watch Cats since I've done that for you all. And with that, we've come to an end of this video. I hope all of you stay safe and maintain distance, not just from other people while you go outside, but also terrible films like these. In the meantime, I'll go ahead and wash my eyes with soap and hope that the Holy One above forgives me for my sins.